Located under File and Options, a new tab called Units and Coordinates has been added, located between the Display Options tab and the Operations tab. The operations available in the Units and Coordinates tab have primarily been taken from the other three tabs in the previous versions of View. We do have one new available option, which is the internal unit, and also some available options and changes to the display unit, which was the default before for previous versions of View. Added to the display unit is an automatic option. This option will update any numeric value to correspond with the correct unit so that we don't reach values into the thousands or too many decimal points. I've created a sphere, and we can see with an internal unit of 0.1, which is the default, it is 6 meters by 6 meters by 6 meters. If I scale down this sphere, once we fall below 1 meter, we move into centimeters. Once we fall below 1 centimeter, we'll move into the millimeters. Same thing if we scale this. Once we move past 999 meters, we get into our kilometer value. With kilometers, it will start to get into the thousands, but not nearly as much as it would if we were using a fixed mode. The fixed modes are the non-automatic modes, so we can go to our File and Options and change our display unit from metric automatic to meters. Now all values we are going to see are going to show up as meters. So now you can see with the scale I currently have, we have 62,235 meter sphere. Once we start getting into extremely small values, we have options that are 0.0000, but still in that fixed meter value. So all units will always show up as meters if we have a fixed mode on. Automatic is the default mode, and what I would highly suggest you use for most of your scenes. The next new available option is the internal unit. By default, this internal unit is set to 0.1. If I create a sphere again, we can see it's 6 meters all the way across the X, Y, and Z. Changing this internal unit to let's say a value of 1 meter will now change this sphere to 60 meters on the X, Y, and Z. This has also made a modification to our atmosphere density. If you go to the atmosphere editor and take a look under our aerial perspective, you can see the value is set to 0.1. Now by default, this value is set to 1, which would be the most realistic and real-world atmosphere density. Because we have an internal unit set to 1, View automatically compensates for that internal unit and sets our aerial perspective down to 0.1. If we go back into our Units and Coordinates tab and changes the internal unit back to 0.1, where we now have our 6 meter sphere again, and go back to the atmosphere editor, we can see our aerial perspective has been changed to 1, which is the default for almost all atmospheres included with View 7.